Welcome to the HS Innkeepers Podcast. We're glad you found your way here.
And welcome to the Innkeepers Podcast. We are a podcast for innkeepers covering Hearthstone fireside gatherings with insight and information we hope all of our fellow innkeepers find useful. I'm Avantes from Knoxville, Tennessee.
I am Root from Orlando, Florida.
And I'm Illyri from Halifax in Canada. And tonight, I say this every week, but we do have a very special guest. This guest, actually, we go way back, Blitz. We go way back to ESL days in Hearthstone. Innkeeper Blitzbot from California. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. How's everyone else?
Ooh, glad to have you.
Fantastic. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Coming up on episode number 25 of the Innkeepers Podcast, we, of course, have all of our news, shares, and spotlight side of the week. And then Blitzbot is going to join us again a little bit to talk about his experience with the Challenger program.
That's right. And don't forget, for all of your Hearthstone Innkeeper needs, check out firesidegatherings.com and, of course, hsinnkeepers.com. That is a website that is a resource of cool, fun things you can do with your firesides that it's actually mainly pieces that other innkeepers have made for you to use. So very special resource for you there.
All right. So that brings us to the news. All right. So
we need a special soundbite for news, I feel like. It's like Doom, but it's like news. See if we can pull something from Witchwood.
Maybe. So last week, Illyri and I talked to you a little bit about Challenger Finals incoming for the Americas. That just happened this past weekend. And we now want to remind you that next weekend, March 31st and April 1st, is the APAC Challenger Finals. So that's coming up. So make sure you are ready. APAC Innkeepers, as a reminder, if you have patrons competing in the finals, be sure to connect with them and make sure they have all the info they need. Nicole from Blizzard Esports team posted in our Discord recently saying if a player has not received their email yet with all their info, they need to contact Hearthstone admin at blizzard.com. So make sure your players are aware and are doing that if they have not received their emails, or reach out on their behalf if you work as an intermediary for your patron if you need to. Okay, that said, Season 2 Tavern Hero Qualifiers.
Yes.
Now is the
They're
time
coming.
to start planning and scheduling. The Season 2 will run from May the 6th through June 17th. So it really, I had forgotten all about the space in between Season 1 and Season 2, because we've got it feels like we're going to have almost a whole month in between them.
Yeah.
So
Well, the crazy thing is when I was looking this up for the show is that the online cups actually start running April 1st.
okay.
So Tavern Heroes themselves, it is a shorter window, so definitely, make sure that you're planning ahead and making the most of it. It's about 6 weeks or so, I think.
Yes,
maybe
and
7 weeks.
don't forget that just like Season 1, all events require they be planned 10 days in advance. You must post to Fireside Gatherings 10 days or more prior to your event, which means the earliest you can start scheduling or the first day to apply for Tavern Hero Qualifiers will be April the 26th. So mark your calendars and get ready. It's almost here.
It is. And speaking of almost here, Witchwood is coming. There is no confirmed release date for it yet. We do know it is April. One of the things I'm going to be doing is combining a launch party with a Tavern Hero qualifier with actually the 4-year anniversary of my little community here in Halifax. So that's going to be a really big deal for us. But I think as well, especially where we don't know the date and there has been a tendency to not know release dates until, days before, it is hard to plan. But if you plan a release party for early May, when we know it's going to be out and you can have a Tavern Hero qualifier, it could be a really good incentive to get more of your community out to your event. So definitely something worth looking into. And that leads us straight into the top share of the week. This one, I think it's definitely where I've seen the most activity that people have been really excited about. It is, of course, honestly, I'm just going to give the shout out to the entire gameplay chat channel from the Discord server, because like all the new cards have been posted. People are talking about it. It's getting people really amped up for the expansion. And I really want to give a special shout out to Innkeepers Maticus from Vancouver, Silver from Singapore, and of course our resident new card poster Jordan from Salt Lake City. Thank you guys. You've been posting the new cards and making sure that we're all up to date. Certainly makes my life easier because I don't have to kind of just like I'll see the odd one on Twitter and such, but it's actually really great just to have it in the server with everything else that's going on with all the other discussions. So yeah, thank you guys for that.
Sweet.
Yeah, and so Root,
Yeah.
you're gonna be introducing our new innkeeper tonight.
I am. I think you guys set me up on this just to annoy Maticus. I think that this is what's happening here.
I don't know what you're talking about. We would never do such a thing.
What? I'm not in on the loop on this. I don't get it.
So we are introducing the TF boy, who is a member of my team here down in Orlando. An additional person. I think that makes me up to 7 admins.
Oh, I get it now.
So
I get it.
that's less than 7. I think it's more like 5. But anyhow,
Root's going to have his own Innkeeper Summit in Orlando for just Orlando
Wow.
Innkeepers.
we
That's
could
funny.
get just the Orlando Innkeepers, and that's just my tavern. I mean, we have 2 or 3 other taverns here in the Orlando area that we work with. And this is just, I mean, it's a pretty large community. So this guy is an amazing person, heart of gold. Let me go ahead and read to you what he said in his intro. It is the TF boy from Orlando, Florida. He said, "Hello all, my name is the TF boy from Orlando, Florida. Who am I? Well, at first, I was just a frequent participant at my local fireside gathering in Orlando, Florida, hosted by Root. Often I would try to stay as long as I could, not only hanging out with everybody, but also participating in tournaments. On the January 27th tournament, I participated in a Tavern Hero qualifier, and I actually won it. It was a double elimination, but he never lost a round. We did a crazy double elimination, we chose the wrong format. Anyhow, it was crazy, but he didn't lose at all. He went undefeated the entire day. I was so excited about it, especially because he won the trophy. He won one of my little Hearthstone trophies here, so he was super happy about that. And he posted a little picture of it up on Imager there. That being said, he was also sad because there was another Tavern Hero qualifier before the HCCC was over, and he could not play in it because, as you know, if you qualify, you can't play anymore because you're already qualified. So he wouldn't be able to participate in the tournament. Knowing that, he went ahead and stepped up. He asked if we needed or wanted anybody to help us out, and of course, we happily said yes. So he arrived at the next fireside gathering just to help out. He went around helping people with issues with the Wi-Fi, helped pass out any prizes to participants, and even helped run our the custom fireside brawl, which was absolute chaos, and everybody loved it. I know you guys covered that last week with the March fireside brawl. It was a lot of fun. During that time, he learned some behind the scenes about firesides, and even shared his own thoughts and ideas, which I hope he's going to continue to do here on our server, on the Discord server, because the guy's got a fantastic... He's going to give Scott Bytes a run for his money and creativity, I'm telling you. Anyhow, it was a lot of fun, and while he's not technically an innkeeper, yeah, you are, buddy. He looked forward to helping out on the next one, as well as here to improve the fireside experience for everybody. He is going to be a fantastic addition to the community here for the Innkeepers. He is, like I said, a great guy, full of ideas, and I'm hoping that he's sharing a lot of them with Scott. I want him and Scott to get together and have a big brainstorm session, because the stuff that those two are going to come up with together would be even far amazing. So I'm really looking forward to their collaboration on that.
Awesome.
So Well met, TF boy. Welcome to the club.
Indeed.
Welcome.
And I will very quickly, I think it'd be fun if every week we just give a quick shout out to all of our new joins and just say where they're from. So in addition to, it's TF boy, not the TF. The TF. What does TF stand for? Can we say on air?
It might be Team Fortress. I've never asked.
Okay, cool.
But then again, it could be that fellow. I don't know.
That's true. the TF boy, welcome, and we also welcome First Biscuit from Lee Valley, Pennsylvania. We welcome Andre from Brasov in Romania, and we also welcome Mikkel Kajed from, I'm going to butcher this, from Esbjerg in Denmark. So thank you guys. Welcome new innkeepers. And yeah, every week we're going to give a nice warm welcome to everyone who's
as we should. Well met, everybody.
Well met. Indeed.
We should get Scott to give us another one of those well mets at that point. Maybe.
I can do it better. Well,
yeah.
There you
Natural.
go.
Yeah,
I totally forgot he was even there. I'm like, am I channeling the innkeeper?
I'm with everyone in spirit.
There you go.
Just for everyone listening, he isn't putting on the accent. Like that is how Blitz talks.
Yes. It was great when I first met Blitz. I was like, hey, where are you from? He's like, California. I'm like, no, really? He goes, no, really? I'm like, I got to sit down now.
I just spat my drink out. I forgot that story.
All right. So that's going to bring us to our main topic this week, which is the Challenger Finals.
Ta-da.
So, Tavern Hero qualifiers have been combined this year with online cups, and this has created the Challengers program. So, basically, the Tavern Hero tournament that we were used to in 2016, 2017 has now become known as the Challenger Finals. Basically, Tavern Heroes and online cup winners now all get thrown into a big pot and compete against each other in a combined tournament for 8 playoff spots. The Hearthstone Challengers program is only open to players who have not qualified for playoffs during the past 3 consecutive HCT seasons. So that's very important to remember. And we talked about this when they first announced this, because if a player who is already qualified participates, they can't win it. Or if they win, you just lose your basically you lose your invitation. Seasonal playoffs are getting ready to come up in May, so watch for that. If you are joining us in our chat, you can !THQ 2018 for the official announcement, or !THQ info for the cheat sheet of info. Also, now, I guess that's pretty much everything I was going to talk about. So now we actually get to welcome our special guest, Blitzbot, who is here to share his experience about the Challengers program. So, Blitz, we heard one of your players actually qualified through, made top 8, and is going to season playoffs.
Nice.
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've hosted, fireside gatherings and Tavern Hero qualifiers. I've been hosting firesides since, the first year they've been doing them, where you just get, the winner of the fireside into a sort of primordial Tavern Hero qualifier cup to get to BlizzCon. So I remember those Wild West days, you could say.
They were Wild West, indeed.
And I took a hiatus, and now I'm back and in action. But the hardest part, my original struggle, was trying to find a venue that works with my schedule. I work full-time, so trying to find a place that both cooperates my schedule and is, convenient and nearby for me is quite difficult. That is until I found this neat little spot called Amdra Hobbies. It's a store tucked away in the north part of San Diego County. It specializes in sort of artsy, drones, rocketry, that cool stuff that before you know it, you'll spend $2,500.
Did you say artsy, drones, rocketry?
No, RC, remote control.
I was so you said artsy, and then drones, rocketry is like, those, I wasn't expecting those after art. I was expecting like an art gallery, just drones and rocketry. Like, oh dang.
So the best if you want to fly the Mona Lisa from here to the moon, you have to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. It's the diversity of the English language at its finest.
It's a very cool shop. You can buy motors and tires and chassis for cars. But they also do a bit of card games on the side, namely Magic the Gathering. But they were very welcoming. They wanted to start, doing fireside gatherings. And, they have this excellent internet infrastructure. They have like 3 backup wireless networks, 2 routers on the main network at the same time. But nobody's really using them. So this place is perfect. The only issue is that the location is not that great, since it is sort of in the outskirts of the city in the northern part of the county. It's far away from, the rest of the people, the rest of, the regular attendees, especially because as I host at the times that are really traffic riddled. So people usually, if it takes them an hour and a half to get here, they'd rather not, since they can play Hearthstone from home anyways. But it doesn't matter, since anybody who could come, I'd make it enjoyable for them. As you should be if you're an innkeeper. It's a party, even if it's just you and one other person. But there is a crowd. But the issue with Tavern Hero qualifiers is that you need 16 people to attend. And this was my main problem. Sometimes I'd be getting 8, sometimes 10 people. But getting to 16 was very difficult.
Except for a real struggle, for sure. Yes. Yeah.
Except for the absolute last Tavern Hero of the season. Luckily, I got through with help and outreach from local players like Alistraza, who lives relatively nearby. We were able to get 16 and hold the Tavern Hero qualifier proper in our venue. And, everyone was excited for it. Because the week before that, we tried really hard to get people to come in, but there was only 13 people who joined. But when we had 16 players, we began it with fervor. And it was a very competitive one at that. This was, people bringing the latest meta decks. We had some professional and semi-professional players there. Alistraza was there. We had some ladder grinders there. And it was a very competitive and fun Tavern Hero qualifier. Of course, since it was double elimination, some people got knocked out, relatively quickly at that. But, I hosted tag team events at the side with the tag team brawl. And, we all had a good time all till the end. And it was very nice that Blizzard sent us 8 packages, because I had quite a few saved up for exactly this kind of a, special event. And there was lots of, raffles and prizes and events. And, everyone was happy all around. And then after, the grueling gauntlet, we had our Tavern Hero, Sneaky Chi. And he played in the Challenger Finals. And he got to the top 4 day 1, which means that he made it to playoffs.
Whoa, that's great.
Yeah. So it's really great. It's an amazing feeling to have your only winner of the only event that you only had enough people to qualify for to make it. All it does is it sort of reinforces this concept, this icon's value, that even though I had to go through a lot of trouble to make these events available to people here, it's definitely worth my while to give this opportunity to, these aspiring Hearthstone players to sort of grab fortune. And it was definitely great and exciting. I'm definitely proud of him for making it.
I think that's huge. That's the thing. That's why we do what we do, is to give these aspiring players that chance for glory.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't even imagine. It's like such a story to go through the whole season 1, trying to run these qualifiers, and you're not getting enough players. And I think we've all, unless you're just in a really popular area, I know some like innkeepers maybe haven't experienced this, but I think most of us have had that, people are coming and you don't reach enough people and like you just feel like you've let them down somehow, even though it really, isn't in your control a lot of the time. And there's just a lot that goes behind running these, especially like, consistently trying to get people out. So to go through all of that and then to come out on the end of it and he placed top 4 day 1, like that is really cool. That's so fun. I'm really glad that, it turned out that way, because it's a good story, that's for sure.
Definitely. The one thing I love more than playing Hearthstone is the Hearthstone community. It's definitely, the best out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gosh, how do I want to phrase this? The Hearthstone community is unlike anything else. And you look at other games and you look at other groups, and it just feels like the Hearthstone community is so inviting, so welcoming, so warm. You can get on Twitter and just have a conversation with so many people that are just there to, want to talk about the game because they truly, passionately love the game for what it is. And that's one of the reasons I love being an innkeeper, is because I can, have these conversations with people, one-on-one or 50-on-1, and everybody be on the same page. And, how do we make it better for players? How do we keep people involved? How do we keep them coming back? Like you said, I had one Tavern Hero qualifier fire this season out of like 4 that I tried to run because I was just not able to drum up enough players. And those events where I didn't have enough, I broke out the prize box and turned it into a fireside, and we had fun regardless. I hate that I wasn't able to get somebody qualified, but we're still going to go out and have fun and have a good time. So,
that's true with anything that we have to do with fireside gatherings. Yes, we have an end goal of, if we're hosting a THQ, if that's our intent, that's kind of like the prize we get as an innkeeper to host that THQ. But the effort we're doing is, if you have one person show up who's curious about, can they get an MZ, by all means, come in, let's get an MZ, sit down, and even if that's your whole day, it's still worth it. You're still made somebody else's day, and that's one of the things that I think sets the innkeeper community apart inside the Hearthstone community, is that we want to give back that extra bit even more.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of Nimsy, remember that whole craze with spoofers and the like? And entering the fireside. So I spoke with a couple of spoofers and, tried to get to know them better.
Like infiltrating them?
No, not just to infiltrate, but, we had some, if people come in, I had one person from, it was in Canada, what was that? Manitoba. He was from Manitoba. And he spoofed to get into my fireside because there were no other firesides within 175-mile radius of where he lives.
Yeah, Manitoba's
Manitoba's, there's
it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there's not a Walmart within 175 miles where that guy lives.
Yeah, so. It is.
And then there were a few people from Peru and Brazil, and they were just I was talking to them, trying to see what's the fireside experience like in their area, and they said essentially it's non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
They literally have to cross borders to another country if they want to get to a fireside. And that just, I sort of played along with them and gave them MZ because I want them to sort of get that experience of bonding with another player, even though I wasn't there for them in person, but still wanted them to have it nonetheless, because that's the point of being an innkeeper, in my opinion. It's you're just there to make everyone's day a good day. And, if that happens, then I'm happy, no matter who wins at the tournament.
Yeah. I actually ran an event this past Saturday, and we had 2 spoofers who popped up in the tavern, and they kept inviting players to regular tavern brawls. And so, like, at one point, I finally sent one of them a friend request, and they never accepted, because I was going to tell them, like, you can't get Nimsy if that's what you're trying to get from a regular tavern brawl. You have to do a fireside tavern brawl. But they just kept challenging over and over and over to regular tavern brawls, and I never could get them to respond to me, even though I tried to reach out to them.
Wow.
So
We haven't, I mean, it's died down for us a little bit here. It might be just because we have our events. I don't know, we had them on Popular Day. We had it on St. Patrick's Day. So we had no spoofers that day. But back in a while, or, a couple events ago, we had our fair share. So,
Yeah,
and I go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's okay.
I would say I talked to him too, but I wasn't, just curious, like why go through all the extra steps? And we have people jump into our Discord server all the time. They say, "Hey, come join my fireside. Here's how you spoof to get into it." And then we ban them from our Discord server because I'm not going to condone quite that level of behavior, but it's interesting the mindset behind them that drives them to go through such lengths to try to get something that is available if they had the opportunity to go to a fireside gathering in their area. Now, what would be interesting to me, just thinking off the cuff, is if Blizzard was able to obtain that information of those people who were spoofing, which I don't think they can, but if they could, then to identify the locations that were needing fireside gatherings, and to see if they could reach out to popular players in those communities, or people who play Hearthstone a lot in those communities. Like if they found somebody in Manitoba and looked and said, okay, this guy plays a lot, and we have enough people in this to support in the Manitoba community to support a fireside gathering. Let's reach out to this one player who plays a lot and see if we can't plant the seed for them. So if they had that data available, that'd be kind of nice to see. But I don't know if they do or not. I don't think they do, but.
Yeah, the only real spoofing I've had is the first fireside I ran after Nimsy came out, where we were just had like 80 people and this and that. It was actually our Moose Cup Finals fireside, and it was like I had it was the like attendant number that you get with the lantern. It was just like in the movies when they're like spinning a dial. It was just thousands, and it was just flipping through and getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, there's not that many people here. There's a lot of people here, but there's not that many. So that's the only real time I kind of really had an issue with it. But even then, I don't even really understand how that seemed to be more of a glitch for like to have it be thousands and thousands. I don't know, maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but that was just a bit weird. But yeah, I haven't really experienced it too much. Things definitely died down, attendance-wise after Nimsy, which again is why I think a lot of us have been struggling to get numbers consistently for Tavern Hero qualifiers. But
well, I think we
keep trying.
We keep trying, and I think we're getting the right tools with the game. Dungeon runs really help out with things to do during your event. Blitz, you commented that you were running some tag team events at your last gathering, the Tavern Qualifier you did. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by tag team events?
Remember they had that 2v2 brawl.
Right.
So I got people who lost, and I paired them up, because normally people go in their cliques and their groups and they don't talk with other people. So I forced people to come together and battle against other people. Make new friends, even though it's hard, I know. But go and make new friends. Go battle. Here's some incentives in regards to prizes, but just I want you to know that you're not alone when playing this game, even though it may seem like that, since your only interaction with your opponent is to emote them after you get the bards into Tyrion, but there is an actual person at the other end of the screen, and I want them to know that they can have some great times with that person if they just go ahead and try.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Now, is your venue set up where they have to sit in close proximity to each other, or do you force them to sit next to each other, be across from each other? What's your venue physically set up?
Okay, so it's like a store in one of those shopping centers, but larger. So I set up these, those tables in the recreation room, those foldable tables, essentially. So there's just like a group of, I want to say, 8 of those tables that I set up right next to each other. So they can, sit across from each other if they're going to be battling one another, or, sit away if they're, don't want any chance of, peeking at one another's screen. But when there's, the tag teams, I set up some tables specifically so that, that one team sits on one side and another team sits on the other side.
I like it. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I like that. So the venue I have has small tables that I like because you cannot get more than 2 laptops on those small tables, and it forces people to sit in very close proximity to one another, and it really adds to the community feel of the fireside. So I like that, but I like your idea. I've not done the tag teams yet in there, but I like your idea of forcing them all to, you know what, I take that back. I did one a while back, and we did put people on opposite sides of the table. But since we moved venues, I haven't done one, so I don't know how I would do it there. I have to see how we do it. But I love that idea of getting the groups together and, making this people, it's kind of like that. Sometimes you have to lead them by the hand and say it's okay to talk to another person. It's they're not going to hurt you. It's okay. People are people. And you know what? You already have something in common with them. Besides the fact that you're both drinking a Red Bull, you like Hearthstone. So it's fantastic.
I like Hearthstone way more when I'm actually around other people.
Man,
because when the crazy stuff happens, Red Bull. But when the crazy stuff happens, you can be like, look, and they're like, that's crazy. It's like, right? Like it's just more, for me, it's personally way more enjoyable than just playing ladder. It's a different game experience for sure. And I think anything we can do as Innkeepers to encourage that benefits everyone.
Hearthstone is definitely way more fun as a social game. I don't know if you guys remember the bus ride with Mars playing his mage and like 20 of us telling him how to play his mage. But that was one of my favorite memories of the weekend. So, So, all right.
So, Larry, I just want to go back real quick to something Larry said about playing in groups and then saying, hey, look at this hand. When we do our wild tournaments, we actually encourage our players, like, if you have something that's incredibly just bizarre, speak up. Let people know what's going around. Because our wild tournaments, we tend to throw even our own little tournament rules kind of out the window. Of course, wins, loss still count. But when something cool like that happens, like, can only happen in a wild tournament, and the odds of it happening are so astronomical that when it happens, everybody crowds around to see it. And it's such a cool feeling when that happens. And then people are like, I can't believe that happened. And it's just amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week. So recapping what we talked about on episode 25 today, we talked about this coming weekend's Asia Pacific Challenger Finals. We reminded you guys, and we're reminding you again, start preparing for Season 2 Tavern Hero qualifiers, May 6th through June 17th. And we actually got to talk with an innkeeper who has had a player qualify for Challenger Finals. Again, congratulations, Blitz.
Yes, congrats.
Thank you.
And that player's Sneaky Che, so we'll have to watch out for him. Yeah, when he starts climbing up on the screens, have to watch him when he starts on the streams when Blizzard has him up there. So
that's right.
Yeah.
All right, so join us next week. We'll be back again with episode 26. Blitz, if people wanted to hear more from you online, where could they find you?
I guess the easiest place would be on my Twitter at BlitzbotV2. That is BlitzbotV2. Awesome.
All right. And Miss O'Leary, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Illyri, or Twitch. Actually, I am trying to stream more these days. That's going to be at ALEIRRI. And of course, you can find me in the Discord server. Root, where can people find you and all your 3D made things?
Yeah, right. I'm more curious about what happened to Blitzbot V1.
We don't talk about V1.
We don't talk about V1? Okay,
No.
I'm sorry. I did not know where
Also listens.
You can find me right here on twitch.tv/HS Innkeepers every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. And you can also find me on Twitter at Hearthcast Fruit. I have another show called Hearthcast. I've been doing that for a couple years. It's a lot of fun. And if you want to see a completely different side of me that you've never seen before, then you have to come find me on the HS Innkeepers Discord server and ask me about a whole other show.
We have a specific off-topic chat for that too.
Yes,
perfect
off-topic.
for that kind of occasion.
It's quite off topic. Avanti's, where can people find you, my friend?
Obviously, I'm here with you wonderful people. I would never want to be anywhere else on Tuesday nights.
At 3 p.m. Wood, you told us before the show started that this new game came out.
Yeah, I
You're like,
know.
guys, we gotta wrap it up real quick tonight. I got another game to play.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Now I also do a show on Wednesday night as well called Hero Power, which is a more general Hearthstone news and gameplay. And you can also, if you want to follow me specifically and see maybe what this other game is that I'm going to be playing, you can follow me on Twitter at AvantisHS. All right.
You know what? We should all just start saying you can find us on the Daring Reporter.
That's right. You can find us on the Daring Reporter every week.
Every week on the Daring Reporter in our own section with nobody else.
Shout out to Daring Alkaline and Green Speed. You guys do a great job. So, all right. With all that said, don't forget all of these great Innkeeper resources that we talk about every week are available for your use at hsinnkeepers.com. You can also find the official Blizzard resources at resources.firesidegatherings.com. And if you've not done so already, and I don't know why you wouldn't have, you need to join the Innkeeper Discord. And you can do that by going to bit.ly/hsinnkeepers. And as we close the show, as we do every week, we want to thank everyone for joining us in chat tonight. It was great having you guys live. And we also want to thank all of you listening at home and around the world. And we want to thank you and let you know we'll see you all again next week.
You're stalling because you can't find the music.
Thanks for listening to the HS Innkeepers Podcast. For legendary resources and more, go to hsinnkeepers.com. Schwinghammer.